Academy Live. My name is Anthony,
I'm Gabby.
and we are here to talk about voiceover with
Indeed.
coffee.
Always.
What do you got today?
I got my
Caffeine now, talk later.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. I still have
This
what's
mug
my
says it all when I first wake up. This is the
think I'm just
one that
I need to get a hat that says I just need to get like a tattoo that says
yeah.
I need
Yeah.
dad fuel.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It is good to see everyone. Hello, welcome. It's Tuesday. I hope you had a fantastic Memorial Day. And we are back at it. Today, we're going to be talking about the splitting your attention, right? When you're in the booth or when you are narrating, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about your voiceover? Are you thinking about the tech side of things? All that jazz. We're going to be talking about that and what to concentrate on. Also, if you are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like, and also leave a comment in the chat. Tell us where you're from, what you're all about. Tell us anything about yourself. We'd love to hear it.
And ask us questions.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's dive into this. How should we start, I think?
It's a great question. It was actually posed by a viewer last week, and we kind of held the topic since we were talking about other stuff. And it's such an important question, right? Because when we talk about how voice actors wear all these hats, right? When we're on mic, it's the culmination of all of it. There it is. Like we're
Mhm.
we're reading a script, we're focusing on our performance. We are, whether it be we're maintaining a character, right? Consistency inside of a performance. Hell, if it's an audiobook, multiple characters, but always somewhere in the back of our brain is a certain amount of time and attention devoted to the technical aspect of our recording, right? Did I pop a P? Did I bump the mic stand? Oh, am I sibilant? Am I clicky today? Do I have mouth noise? Did I do that pickup in a place that's gonna make it easier in post production? Maybe you use a dog clicker. There's all these things going on,
Mhm.
and of course, what we do on mic affects the finished product, and it affects our own ability in post and a producer's ability in post. So,
Mm.
yeah, like, I mean, if you had to quantify it, Anthony, how much time would you say? Like, how do you, how is your brain being divided in percentages?
No, this is a great guy. So the other day I did, if y'all have seen on the channel, I recorded myself doing a voiceover in the booth so everybody could see it. It was a character. All right. And, that's if any of you want a challenge to really fry your brain, record yourself doing a voiceover while you're doing the voiceover live.
Oh,
That'll be fun. But basically, I think that it probably is 70-30. I'm just going to throw that number out there in my mind. And for me, it was becoming comfortable with that, like becoming comfortable with that in my mind. So basically, when I do a voiceover, depending on what it is, because I have done a bunch now, right? I know I need to set myself up to do XYZ in a particular type of voiceover I'm doing. So for a loud voiceover, I back away. And because my space is well treated enough, I know going into my situation that I'm not going to have issues with my space being too far away from my microphone, which then allows me to be louder, hit my P's harder, do a lot of stuff that when I first started, it was more probably 60-40 the other way, where I was spending a lot more time focusing on, am I too close to my microphone? Did I make a pop? And what happened to me, or what happened was, is my performances suffered, and because I wasn't thinking about the right thing. I call this the where do I put my hands scenario. So basically, think about this, right? You're on stage, if you're acting on a live stage, right? And you're standing there and you are listening to the person who's talking at the moment,
mm.
and you're just standing there. What do you do with your hands? Do they just stay by your side? You stand there like you're at attention? We don't stand like that in real life. What do we do with our hands? And you start thinking about this and you're like, wait, oh my gosh, do I gotta move my hand and touch my head? Do I gotta, cross my? What do I do with my hands? Right? And the scenario plays out this way: when you are focusing on your hands, you're not focusing on what you should be focusing on, and that is what is actually happening at that moment in the story. And I like to make that analogy over to, and I had to work on this myself, is to say, what am I focusing on? Am I focusing on the right thing or the wrong thing? Right? Because if I focus on the story, and this goes for anybody trying to also work on their acting, if I focus on what I'm saying, right, and the story I'm trying to tell, whether it's a commercial or whether it's an audiobook, whatever, you'll find that it allows you to separate yourself from a lot of the worries and concerns, and your performance will actually, I think, it increases tenfold because you're focused on the right thing. So that took me a while though to get there.
Mm.
So now I'd say it's about 70-30 the other way, but it's only 70-30 in the beginning. Once the performance starts for me, all of that, I probably 90-10. Something's always there in the back of mind, am I too close or whatever. But early on, it was flipped.
Yeah.
I was always thinking way more about pops and noises, and am I positioned right, and how does my voice sound, how am I gonna be editing it, while is my voice
Mhm.
sounding too this way or that way. I was thinking about all the wrong stuff.
And that's what's interesting, right? So I agree with everything you're saying. I was thinking like 25-ish% myself. But yes, early on, it's almost completely flipped. But something I see a lot that I talk with students about is how there's so much worry about how do I sound? How do I sound? How do like sonically, right?
Mm,
Acoustically, how do I sound?
mm-hmm.
And I'm always like, stop that. Don't worry about that. Actors don't care how they sound.
Right.
Yes, we have technical things we need to be aware of, right? If I bop the mic, we have a problem. I have to do a retake, right? I have to pick that up. If I pop a pee really badly, if I'm, if there's some extraneous environmental noise that happens, like, yes, I have to have that awareness. But actors aren't like on stage. You're exactly right. Like nobody's like, how do I sound right now? They don't care.
Right. Exactly.
What they're worried about is how am I acting? Am I acting normally? Am I reacting normally? It's like you said about your
Mm-hmm.
hands. The minute you stop worrying about that and you instead start focusing, listening attentively to the other performer, you're
Exactly.
like, "Oh, I need to be responding with my
Yes.
face and my
Oh,
body
absolutely.
language." And those are the things as opposed to just what am I do like, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. And I love that you brought that up. So the age old idea, the age old saying is acting is reacting,
Mhm.
right? We are reacting to action that has taken place. And for us as voice actors, we're alone, we're by ourselves. So it is then our job, right, in our minds to imagine that action, to imagine what's happening. We are reacting to it.
Exactly.
And that's another cool thing that, no, yes, there are monologues, there are, single person scenes, there are, movies like Castaway, sure, where you're
Mhm.
doing it's all by yourself pretty much, or you're by yourself. But voiceover is completely unique in that way, because there is no one. I mean, unless we're doing a directed session, but even then, we're still by ourselves, having to create it ourselves. And that is, I mean, one, it can be really fun to do. And I think you look like you want to say something, Gabby. You're smiling.
I love that you brought up the movie
Oh
Castaway
yeah.
because my instincts goes, "Wait a minute. Are you discounting Wilson?
Mm,
Are you saying Wilson
I
is
love it. You're
not
right.
a
You're right.
viable scene partner?"
And think of that. I'm gonna maybe I should have a Wilson in my booth. Maybe do you have some? We need to create. But that's the whole thing, right? The idea is here is our job is to use our imagination and to do the things that the other people can't do, and that's why they're paying us to do it, right? I always looked at it that way. I know this sounds silly, but I used to do this thing. It's not necessarily an animate object, but when I was early on, I had an issue, or I felt like I had an issue of being too loud, because as a stage actor, I was
Mhm.
always told, I'm supposed to be as loud. The person in the back
Mhm.
seat needs to hear
Mhm.
me. But when I get to the microphone, that's a whole different scenario. We're not projecting anywhere. So I was a very loud and bellowy type person. So, anyways, what I did was, and you do all these kinds of things, right? I took a piece of paper, I cut it out in the shape of an ear, and I put it on my microphone. So I stuck it, and there was an ear on my microphone. Like this idea that I was speaking into someone's ear.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And I don't know where not that, but someone had just, I heard
yeah.
somewhere someone say,
Mhm.
it's like you don't need to yell. It's like you're almost talking to someone's ear.
Mhm.
And anyways, but those type of things can help visually tangible things that you do. Wilson. I mean, I love the idea that makes me want to have a Wilson now. Maybe it's my dog.
The
I
very
mean, but
first
I.
time I saw that though, and I watched him pick up Wilson,
Hmm.
I was like, "Gee, it's the skull in Hamlet. It's
Oh,
the
I love it.
same
Yeah, yeah,
thing."
exactly.
There's no doubt that was inspired from that,
Oh, of
and I
course.
and I was just like, "This is brilliant." But so, yeah,
Hmm.
I have what I call booth buddies. And
Mm.
I marketed these for a little while. It was not a cost effective thing at the
What are they,
time.
like plushies or
Yeah,
something? That's
they're
what you
toys. They're
Oh, I
just
love it.
so I will go, when I'm out randomly, if I find a plush toy that has a very expressive face and a very specific emotion,
Hmm.
yeah, I'll buy it. And I have like a little line of them in my booth, and they're my buddies. And so I can like focus in
Mm.
on one of them to have a conversation with.
I love it. And I do think we do have a question from Junior Dog Rider real quick, but I do want to bring one last thing. I mean, remember, in the end, everybody, it's our jobs to find ways to get ourselves into the right frame of mind, whatever that
Mm,
is, for whatever particular voiceover you're doing. Early on, I found a couple of very distinct voiceovers from that were commercials that were done that I wanted to use. So I used the Richard Dreyfuss ad that he did for the for Apple. Even though Steve Jobs did one, Richard Dreyfuss was way better.
I mean, it's Richard
So
Dreyfuss. I mean, hello.
I loved, so I would use that, and I also, because it blew my mind, the Pure Michigan ads that Tim Allen did.
Oh
And it was
yeah.
such an interesting thing listening to Tim Allen talk about it, because Tim Allen, he expected to go in there, like his big characters, like from Tool Time and
Mhm.
the Santa Claus, but the director wanted him to be completely opposite of that and just be completely real. And I
Mhm.
loved the Pure Michigan. And so I would go to these and listen to them a few times and get myself in the right mindset. Because remember, acting is imitating. It's imitation. It's not impersonation, although that's a part. I mean,
Mm,
there are impersonators,
yeah,
but we're imitating real life. We're imitating emotion, right? That's what we're doing. We're trying to imitate that to show. So it's good to have things that you can latch on to, whether
yeah,
it's a plushie or whether it is whatever, to get yourself in the mindset so that you're not focusing so much always on technical stuff that will get
yeah.
you out of the mindset. Um, all right, so let's see, we've got good morning from Austin. That's right. Happy Taco Tuesday. Do you all use a P.O. box or use your home address for your business? Also, do you all use paid version of LinkedIn? Curiosity killed the cat. All right. So, personally, I do not use a PO box. I use my home address,
So do I.
and that's what I use. Even though I do know a lot of people who do use a PO
Mhm.
box, I've just always I use my home address.
I use my home address, but I will say on my Google listing, because I do have one, because you should have
Yeah.
one. I do the general area.
Yes.
It
Yes. You can do
doesn't
that.
give
Yeah.
you the exact location,
How
although
long ago? Here's a little kicker, though. How long ago did you set that up?
I update it pretty regularly, but originally, I mean, it was probably 15 years
The
ago.
reason why I bring that up is because I had tried to do one for another. I was doing a trailer business. I have
Mhm.
a trailer and like all this stuff, and you had to like they changed the things where you had to show a sign
Mhm.
that you was by you. You had to like show like it was nuts. So I don't know if they're
Jeez.
still do it if they like, but yeah,
No.
I wouldn't put your because no matter what, people will literally be able to see exactly where you live
Yeah, and
on a map.
I have
Like,
had that happen, though. I have had people tell me, like, if I Google your home address, like, you pop up, like, your face and your business, and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." Yeah,
But remember, everybody, we want to be found. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, that's the
yeah,
goal of what we're trying to do for people to be able to find us.
yep.
Also, do y'all use the paid version of LinkedIn? I have and I have before. I am not currently, but there have been times where I have used it, but I don't. I'm not using it now just because I can do it without the paid version.
Yeah, I do not, and that's only because, LinkedIn tends to be a lot of, corporate-oriented work,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not really my main focus.
Mm-hmm.
I do use LinkedIn, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Good question. Okay, let's see. Just joined the live from Puerto Rico. Cool. I've been building my VO career. Does not expect. I know. Oh, sorry, it was not a
Uh
question. But good to have you, Jay. And,
So Andrew has a fun question that might be a great topic for tomorrow. Time management.
I
Yeah.
could do with any hints on how to manage my time more. Flute in the UK. That is a great topic
Hmm.
for tomorrow. Although we do have a couple minutes left.
We
We
do.
actually have 3.5 minutes left on
Yeah.
our 20 minutes. But we could definitely have a primer and
Mm,
maybe go
sure.
into tomorrow. Because I think time management could be multiple sessions, just like anything else.
Hmm.
It is probably one thing that we could do our own training on in the
Yeah.
academy is time management,
Yeah.
how important it is. I don't know about you, but I've how I approached time management. I would say the first part is for me is figuring out 1 to 3 things that you must do every single day. Not that you would like to do, that you must do. Because the things I would like to do would fill up this entire room. Like
Of
I
course.
want to do all kinds of stuff,
Of course.
for my business. But the things you must do, like
Hmm.
the 1 to 3 things that you have to do in order to keep this business running. Okay. So inevitably that always goes to some sort of auditioning,
Hmm.
right? To me, it's always about how do I get work? That like what am I doing specifically to get work? Those are the things I must do
Right.
every single day. That's how I start
Yeah.
the whole premise. I suppose it's not. I suppose just you start with what's your overall goal, what you're trying to do in your business. But that's how I start with my dailies. Like what would I must do?
Well, you're prioritizing money making,
Hmm.
and that's important for sure.
Right.
For sure. I think for me, the start was always setting boundaries and expectations with the rest of my household regarding
Mm.
working from home.
Mm.
And it was setting my own boundaries and expectations with an understanding that when I step foot into the door that is my office,
Hmm.
everything else that is non work related is not a priority during that time period.
Oh, I mean, from your mouth to my ears,
Hmm.
it's so true.
Hmm.
Oh, it's so true. And for those of you with, summer is
Mm.
literally if it's not already started for you, it's and you have children.
Hmm.
Oh, I love and I'm not gonna say I don't hate. I love and enjoy my little one, my family during summertime. But it is very you have to set those expectations because it's like when I'm working, you can't be running around screaming, doing this stuff. It's
Do you
it,
you remember a number of years ago the video that went viral of I think it was like a political consultant or something maybe an academic and he was doing a live and like his
oh yeah,
3-year-old
yeah, yeah, in the back,
and
yes,
his wife came
yes,
and like grabbed the
yes.
kid. I was laughing until I was
It was
crying.
on like a major
Yeah, yeah,
channel or
yeah, it was on,
something.
like,
Yeah.
CNN or something
Yeah,
where it
yeah,
happened,
yeah. I
but
remember that.
I was laughing so hard because that's the life of a voice actor.
It's our life. It is so real,
100%.
right? I mean, it's real.
They, and it really is, and I mean, depending on how young your kids are, yeah, it can be hard, but as they get older, certainly, and spouses look, I know so many voice actors who have had the internal argument of like, "Well, you're home all day. Why can't you just
Yes. Yes.
That's when I turn into a dolphin. No,
Yes.
I c-
Oh,
I can't just. I'm working here, people.
I have
Working.
thought from time to time, I really have considered should I look for a place away from home?
I have
Because,
to.
just which I thought, which I would
Yeah.
tell myself, no, I love being at home, but at the same time, there comes a, well, dad can do it, or dad, if you're not in a meeting right now, you could do it. I'm like, no, the answer is no. I can't do it, but why not? But no, but then, like, you end up, all right, fine. The funniest thing is for me is I'm in my booth, right? So I forget that I built this like quiet booth. So like somebody will be in the house and I can hear something happening and I'll be like, stop moving around. And no one can hear me. Right? And I'm like screaming. And I have to remember, crap, no one can hear me because they keep like traipsing around. I'm like, what is going on out there? Like, it's no one can hear me. Oh, it's crazy. They're like, yeah, don't worry. They probably have friends, or whatever. Don't mind him. He's just kind of crazy.
The
We
number
lock him in
of
the closet in
times.
there, and he just
Yeah.
yells for a couple hours, and
The
he's fine.
number of times I have opened the booth door and just yelled into the house.
Mm.
Oh my god, it's so funny. So yeah, I
Uh,
think we can easily pick up
yes,
this topic
I
tomorrow and
think so.
explore it
I think
further. And
so.
yeah.
Thank you guys so much, everybody. It was wonderful seeing you. We had such a cool, like, people from everywhere all
I
over
know, I
today.
love it.
So, see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye, everybody. All
Oh my
right.
god, that's